So some of the issues that we run into when making music are like, I think it's a similar problem with anyone making art, is that when you listen to something over and over again, or if you watch something over and over again, or if you're making a photo or a painting and you look at it too much, you stop getting a sense for what it actually is, because you're too zoomed in.
Like numb to it, kind of.
Yeah, and you become numb to it. So something that's important is to work quickly, I think, and that way when you're listening to it, it's almost like you're listening for the first time if you finish it quickly, you know, and that way you have a good understanding of what needs to be changed. Sometimes if you've worked on a song for, 100 hours, you can't even really hear it anymore, and that's why it's important to send your songs to friends that you trust, because for them, it is their first time hearing it.
Yeah, I mean, you can even section it sometimes, like if you have like a general, like let's say you have a vocal and you have a general idea for how you want the song to sound, you kind of like sketch it out and do it kind of quickly, and then maybe if you get the slightest idea that it's not the right vibe, you just put that to the side and start a whole new thing, and then later on you'll find that like you'll listen back to that first thing and be like, oh wait, this part of it's kind of cool, like I'll use that, and you can use little parts of it in different areas because you'll have fresh ears again after trying some other stuff. That's what we do all the time. We'll like do a couple weird random things, and then later on, like maybe it might be like 2 days later and we're almost done with the song, and we'll see it and be like, wait, what's this?
Yeah,
and
actually,
like, oh, that's sick.
A good point with that, which is what he's saying, is when you're working on something fresh, don't delete tracks. If you have a part that you've written, a synth part or a guitar part or something, and you're not sure if it works, just mute it. Don't delete it, because it might work in a different part of the song, or it might work once you've changed it, mixed with something, or once you've changed it. So keep all the ingredients to your song available and don't delete them. Something that we used to do a lot was just like this. We would try to work on a drop, let's say, and not listen to it at all while we're making it. Just because of what we were saying before, the ability to hear something fresh for the first time is so important. So we would just like program all the drums and then put in parts and just see how close could we get it with our mind without pressing play. You don't have to do that, but it's just a fun experiment.
Probably just going to like macro, spending too much time on one small little thing, because it just ends up making it feel disconnected from the rest of the song. This actually relates to the first point. Something that we run into a lot is we tend to overcomplicate our songs and have too many layers, too many things going on, too much syncopation. And the reason why that happens is because you get used to how it is. So if you make your song and it's actually filled up correctly, you might start to get bored of it and think you need to add more, but it's really just because you've heard it too many times. So yeah. We always try to like check ourselves and go like, are you sure we need this layer? Like, can we take it out? Because if you can take something out, then it's probably, if it doesn't need that part, then it's better without it. I think the most important thing you could do when you're working on art is make sure that you're inspired and make sure that you're in a flow state. So what a flow state is, they call it like in sports when you're in the zone. And to me, what that means is that your mind is completely focused on what you're doing. That time goes by really quickly, and it's really weird. If you've ever been, you can get this even when you're not making things. Like if you're watching a movie, you can suddenly, you don't even notice your room. You won't notice that you got a text on your phone because you're so in the movie and you feel like you're there. And that's that same feeling you can get when making art. And to me, that's when you make the best art. So if you're not feeling inspired in that way, I think just don't work on music. Yeah, don't force it.
Yeah, just don't force it. You want to wait until, for whatever reason, you're available mentally to get into that flow state, and you have the time and and you really want to.
You gotta just like let it happen naturally. Like if you're just not working for a week and you're just listening to your favorite artists, or some new stuff comes out, or you're watching a movie that inspires you and you hear the soundtrack and it's amazing, or you're not listening to any music at all and you're just listening to podcasts, just whatever it is, if you start feeling a little bit inspired naturally, then try and work on music. So
here's the one caveat to that. I think when you first start working on music, if you're really new to this and you notice that you're never inspired and you never want to sit down to do it, that actually might be something else. That might be resistance, because when I first started producing, I never wanted to work because I was such a perfectionist that I was scared that what I make wouldn't be perfect. And if you're in that place, then the answer is actually the opposite. I think that you should force yourself to sit down and force yourself to just create and create and create, because you just have to get that feeling out that that you need to make everything perfect. And then once you get in a good habit, you're gonna learn more. And yeah, so maybe that first thing we said is more so for if you already feel comfortable working on music and you're already good at it. But if you're just starting and you never feel the urge or the inspiration to do it, I think maybe just forcing yourself to do it is the move. So yeah. So recently we've been making K-pop songs with K-pop artists. The first song we did was called Down with Ace.
I never go to parties, cause I ain't trying to see anybody. Something about you got me stuck and I'm sinking. Lend me your hand, girl, come and save me, cause I'm falling down, down, all the way down.
And yeah, that's a song that we wrote a long time ago and ended up going and working with them on it, and that was such a fun experience.
Yeah, being in the studio, like experiencing everybody taking turns going into the booth and trying each part to see who best fits each part was really cool.
Yeah.
And obviously the video is really cool and all that. And then
recently we put out a song with Bam Bam called Someone Else in Mind, featuring
Seogi.
Yeah.
But I like to fight you.
That was actually cool because we didn't ever expect that song to come out. It's a song that we wrote at a writing camp, and when you do a lot of sessions, you have like hundreds or thousands of songs, and you never know like what's gonna happen with those. It might sit on your hard drive for years, and that's what happened in this case. He loved the song, and
it was really cool hearing certain parts of the lyrics in Korean as well. It actually sounded like kind of cooler.
Yeah.
And then seeing
the music video.
The video is so insane.
Yeah.
But generally, like we just like working on K-pop because it kind of fits our vibe, because we like switching things up all the time and having weird chords and doing eclectic things. And that's like pretty much all like what you do in K-pop, which is cool.
Yeah, in America, it's a lot more like vanilla in the sense that, they don't like tempo changes here most of the time and or like a switch up in vibe. But one really cool thing that we love about K-pop is you could get to the bridge and suddenly it's like an Indian song, and then it'll switch to EDM, and then it'll switch to this, and just the amount of variation in the song is something we really like.